Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing something kind of cool. I'm going to be showing you guys which comics I'm bringing with me on my move. Collected editions, of course. I'm not bringing single issues with me. That would be stupid. I do have a number of collected editions, as you guys saw. When I came back, revived the channel, I did start it off with a haul/collection tour of all of the things that I amassed over the summer into the fall. That sort of started my comic reading and collecting journey. Of course, now, if you guys have been keeping up with the channel, I did finish Invincible, so I don't have to worry about packing those giant compendiums with me. But I do have some other things that I'm going to be bringing with me, whether that be in my carry-on or also my suitcase, because I do have a suitcase here that's dedicated to whatever, because there's a high probability that we'll be in a hotel without all of my belongings for a number of months. We just won't know really until we get there. If you guys don't know, I'm moving to Hawaii. It's a whole thing. So I want to make sure that I'm stacked with reading material, that being books and comics, because I do like both. So I'm going to be showing you guys what all I'm bringing with me today. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy. And without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so starting us off, I'm going to start with the one that I'm going to be bringing in my bag, in my carry-on, that I very well might start reading on the plane to Hawaii. We're leaving out of San Diego, so it's like a 6-hour flight, I think. I did want to sort of split that time between comics, but the majority of that time I actually did want to spend reading a fantasy novel that I've been meaning to finish for a while, but I wanted to get started with some comics to break it up a little bit in case I get a little burnt out during that 6 hours of the novel. I can go to some comics and read something. But the thing that I did want to get started very soon, that is X-Men. I'm starting with Second Genesis, of course, just to get the feel for it. I'm a big fan of Wolverine, if you guys don't know. Probably my favorite superhero. I've gone back and forth between him and Spider-Man and Batman all my life. Those are sort of my three favorite, superheroes. Now, you know, after reading Invincible, Invincible's definitely in the mix, but as far as Marvel and DC, it's always been Wolverine, Spider-Man, Batman, for sure. Anywho, been wanting to get into X-Men. Especially, X-Men is sort of what sparked my new fascination with comics over the summer. After watching, you know, the Deadpool and Wolverine movie a couple of times, I went to theaters to see it. That's sort of what, you know, really roped me into the hobby. That was that movie, and just spending time talking about different comic characters with my uncle. It was just a pretty cool summer that I had, that opened my eyes to a lot of different hobbies and different fandoms. X-Men being one of them. It's just the one that I'm most interested in as far as like groups or specific characters of superheroes. X-Men's the one. But Second Genesis is the place where most people tend to start. Of course, you got Claremont, Cockrum, and Byrne on this hoe. I can't wait to get started. I was flipping through it, and I'm not a huge fan of that super vintage look. I'm hoping, you know, it'll grow on me as long as, like, the story stays good. But I do have Second Genesis here that I'm taking on the plane itself, or, like, in my carry-on bag, but also in my suitcase, one of my baggage things. I do have a couple other of these epic collections, which is also my ideal way to collect and read X-Men. It's really simple paperbacks that are often reprinted, and yeah, they're not as cumbersome as the huge Marvel omnibuses. Just really simple. The only problem I have with them is they print them out of order and reprint them kind of out of order, so it can be a little difficult to get, you know, all of the story. But luckily, I kind of already have just the ones that I really want to read in order. I'm not really interested in starting from issue 1 and reading through like issue 400 or whatever it is. I'm new to this. I don't exactly know the issue, but you guys know what I mean. I'm not really interested in doing that. There's some key arcs and sections of the Claremont run that I want to read before moving on into like the new X-Men. For example, that's probably the one I'm going to read after this Claremont stuff. Anywho, the portion of the Claremont stuff that I do want to read, I have and I'm packing with me, starting with Second Genesis, moving into Proteus. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is just, it says it's volume 6. I'm not too familiar with this arc, actually, but it's just the next step. These go in order, so this is number 5, this is number 6, and then between or after that one is Fate of the Phoenix, which is one of the most famous sections of X-Men, of course dealing with the Dark Phoenix saga, which is extremely popular, and this one also includes Days of Future Past, which is also super famous. So yeah, I'm really excited to get through this stuff, and in order. That's a good chunk of X-Men right there. That's a good amount of issues right here to get through. So yeah, I'm hoping that holds me over for X-Men. Again, that's sort of really the quintessential stuff that I want to read from the Claremont run before moving into more and more modern stuff. After this, gonna read new X-Men. In December, though, they do have the God Loves, Man Kills Epic Collection coming out, which I definitely want to get that and read it as well. That's a storyline that I've heard is really good, and just the cover really interests me with Wolverine, so I don't know. There's some other stuff that I'm willing to check out, like Fatal Attractions also, but these 3 Epic collections are sort of the main ones from this era that I care to. Now, moving on, in a similar vein, you guys know I love Wolverine, so I had to throw in some Wolverine. I'm still debating on whether or not to bring my Wolverine Epic collection I have. I may or may not still, but these ones are for sure I'm taking, starting with Weapon X, Barry Windsor Smith. I've heard amazing things about this, and it's sort of the, backstory of Wolverine with the Weapon X program and Stryker and all of that good stuff. It's a classic. I also really love this cover that they're doing with it on this specific edition. I think it looks really nice. And I love Wolverine, so this is sort of quintessential reading for the character, and I do plan on doing a video talking about different Wolverine comics as well. And in the similar vein, I do have Wolverine. This is the Frank Miller Claremont run from the, 82? Yeah. So 1 through 4. This has to do with his Wolverine stuff in Japan. With that, the movie, I think it's just called The Wolverine, was loosely based on. I'm really excited to get to this one because I've always been interested in Wolverine's affinity with Japanese culture. I've always thought that was kind of weird and out of place. Of course, I'm a nerd. I like Japanese stuff, and I think Wolverine being associated with that is kind of weird and cool at the same time. Basically, Wolverine fighting ninjas and the Yakuza and stuff, at least from what I understand. But yeah, really cool stuff. And next is something a little different having to do with Wolverine. That's Wolverine Snaked by Tsutomu Nihei, who happens to be one of my favorite mangaka. Doing sort of a sci-fi dystopian, very Nihei take on Wolverine. If you guys don't know who Tsutomu Nihei is, he's the author of Blame, as well as Abara, Knights of Sidonia, What else did he do? Noise, which I guess is still in the Blame universe, but my point is he does a lot of weird sci-fi stuff that has to do with like these otherworldly, like almost cyberpunk, but not really, and like kind of beings. And there's like monolithic structures and really just weird and abstract futuristic ideas. His art I've always been fascinated with. I mean, you can see on here that rendition of Wolverine is just super sick, and here's him on the back as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Marvel had him do this run. It's like a limited run. I think it's like 4 or 5 issues or something like that. Tailgating off the hype of Blame from the early 2000s. Yeah, his stuff is very different too, because it's very show don't tell. There's not a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of just action, and like most of it is focusing on the art and the scenery as a whole. So there's a story there. It just doesn't jump at you. It's something you kind of have to figure out, and it's very open-ended for interpretation. In that way, it reminds me a lot of the Dark Souls games, or like Bloodborne, the different FromSoft games. I think it just reminds me of that because of the storytelling. I think fans of those games would also really enjoy Nihei's work, and this just so happens to be my favorite hero, being done by one of my favorite manga authors. So yeah, have to check that out, and I've had it for a while now. It's been sitting on my shelf. I've got to get to that one. And lastly, these next 2 comics kind of go hand in hand, and that is Cosmic Ghost Rider and Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History. Very interested in Cosmic Ghost Rider. His whole backstory is super dope. Him being, the Punisher, and then going back in time with like Baby Thanos, all that stuff. But yeah, this first one is Baby Thanos Must Die. Yeah, really enjoy the idea of his character and sort of that basic premise. I'm also learning a little bit more about creators in the comic space as I get more in depth in the fandom, in the hobby. For a long time, I really just focused on specific characters, but what I've come to learn is focus who is writing these stories and who is, the artists and stuff. And Donny Cates, who wrote Cosmic Ghost Rider, is a creator that I keep seeing pop up and being associated with titles and plot lines that I think are just the coolest in the Marvel catalog. So I'm really interested in checking out more Donny Cates stuff, namely his Thor, which they're doing an omnibus for like in a week that comes out. Also his stuff with Hulk, which I think it's Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley, who after reading Invincible is one of my favorite artists. I'm very interested in checking that out, but I did want to start with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Because he's just such a cool looking character. But yeah, I'm really interested in checking out more Donny Cates stuff. If you guys have any recommendations, definitely let me know. But yeah, those are the 2 ones that I want to check out by him. And so that's sort of my stack of comics I have here that I'm bringing with me. There's a few other things I have that I'm still kind of iffy on whether or not I want to bring them. I do have like the trade for Hickman's Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm iffy on bringing that one. Like I want to read it, but I don't know if I'm bringing too much. Also, my epic collection of Wolverine, I have number 1 for that with the Madripoor stuff and like Mr. Fix-It and all that, which I'm definitely wanting to read at some point. Up there, I also have Berserker by Keanu Reeves. That's another one I'm really interested in reading. Who knows? I might end up bringing all of those too. But for now, I think this stack right here, these are the comics that I'm not iffy on, and I am for sure bringing with me. And you guys can expect reviews for these in the coming months. I don't know how many of them I'm going to get through in the next month or whatever. I'm going to be doing an X-Men read-through of sorts. I sort of have a reading order in my mind planned. I've written down stuff that I've learned from other people and other YouTubers and content creators. I sort of created my master list reading order for X-Men that's, to my knowledge, kind of unique to me, and I kind of like that you can do that with the comics. It seems really daunting, and it is. I had to do a lot of research, but I sort of figured out something that works for me, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. Yeah, I can't wait to get deeper into this community and everything, so stay tuned for all those reviews coming. Got some big things planned, but yeah, that's what I have here today. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and leave me some recommendations down in the comments if you have them. I'd love to hear it. So yeah, thank you all, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.